Hi, everyone. My name is Gwen Stern, and I'm the Director of Trial Advocacy and a Professor of Law here at the Drexel University Kline School of Law. I am thrilled to be here tonight. I am thrilled you're all here on this dreary night for us to have some fun. I love this presentation, and I'm so glad to get to do it again. I have been at the Kline School of Law I'm now in my 14th year. I was lucky enough to actually start the trial advocacy program back when the school just had a 1L class, and I was hired to design everything. I had been a trial lawyer for my entire career, mostly doing defense medical malpractice work. And I also did plaintiff's work at Kline Inspector and had taught trial advocacy at Temple for 8 years as an adjunct before coming to Kline full-time. So I'm excited to tell you about the program through this PowerPoint. All right, so this is really exciting. There is a ranking by Fordham University School of Law that compiles all of your wins from your trial competitions. They take several years of looking at them, and we are ranked number 3 in the country based on our competition performance. There's another ranking by US News and World Report, which probably a lot of you are familiar with, and we are ranked number 15 in the country, which again, I'm incredibly proud of since our school has not been in existence that long. Okay, let me just tell you some of the courses that are in this trial advocacy program. We have deposition skills and technology, which is really a wonderful course. It's a standalone course that most schools do not have. A lot of schools will have some kind of pre-trial advocacy course that dips into deposition skills for like a day or two. We have a full 14-week course where we teach you skills using technology, and it's a really fun class. We have Introduction to Trial Advocacy, which teaches you all the basic skills in trial ad, directs, crosses, openings, closings, expert examinations, and it culminates in full trials. The thing that's really cool about what we do is that I teach the how-to in the beginning of the week, and then towards the end of the week, there are small performance classes from 8 to 10 people, so everybody gets to perform each week the skill that they've learned that week. We have a lot of advanced trial advocacy classes once you've taken Introduction to Trial Advocacy. One of the newest classes that we have that I love, that I created last spring semester, is called ATA Law and Medicine. And what's so cool about this class is it's a combination of Drexel medical students and Kline School of Law students, where they learn about medical malpractice, and then it culminates in a medical malpractice mock trial at the end. We have improvisation for lawyers, and the improv teacher is wonderful. Her name's Sharon Geller, and she does a wonderful class for us, teaching you improv skills, which helps you as a lawyer, just as a person being able to speak quickly on your feet. We have Tethered Evidence, which is another course that I created where we link the evidence that you're going to be learning in trial ad that week, you learn in evidence in the same week. So this way, as you're going along, you know the evidence rules that you'll be using in the trial ad class. Faculty, we have a full faculty, state and federal court judges, prosecutors, state and federal, criminal defense lawyers, plaintiff personal injury, defense personal injury, defense commercial litigation. And of course, I already told you about our professional actress and our improv teacher, Sharon Geller. Okay, now comes the really fun part, which is showing you lots and lots of our exciting pictures from all our successes. Just now, literally last weekend, 2020 national finalists at the Summit Cup tournament in Denver. This was done online through Zoom, and it went from 20 teams down to 2. That was the cut, 20 to 2, and our team made it to the final 2. 2020 regional champions in the Texas Young Lawyer mock trial competition. 2019, there's Nicole, there's Phil. Phil actually coached Nicole with Jess Falkenstein, another alum of ours, and Ryan Nacino, and they won the competition, national champions. 2019 again, won again. 2018, and just more and more and more championships. This current students will talk to you about the benefits of trial team, but it's really fun. Like, we get very close to our students, the students get close to each other. It's really, you learn great skills by having fun too. And you perfect the skills that you learn in Introduction to Trial Advocacy, because you get to really work on them through these competitions. This year, or at least for now, this semester, they're all on Zoom, but when we teach you these skills, we teach you skills now for Zoom and for real life. Everybody gets jobs through our mock trial team, lots of networking going along, and lots of great opportunities to get really, really good jobs. And as we have fabulous coaches who, again, are on all civil, criminal, all different kinds of lawyers who are doing this. We are fortunate enough to be, have the Kline Institute of Trial Advocacy at 1200 Chestnut Street. It has 5 amazing state-of-the-art courtrooms, and we love, it's the only standalone building in the country that just has courtrooms. This is a picture of our ceremonial courtroom, which, if you hopefully come to our school, you will get to compete in there, learn in there, and it is a wonderful, wonderful building. I am thrilled to introduce you to Phil Pasquarello. As you've seen, he's obviously done incredibly well in mock trial. He's an amazing coach, an amazing trial lawyer, a Kline inspector, and I turn it over to you, Phil.
Thanks, Gwen. Hi, everyone. My name's Phil Pasquarello. I'm a trial lawyer in Philadelphia at a law firm called Kline Inspector, and I'm the trial competition director here at the Kline School of Law, which means I oversee the mock trial teams and the competitions that we host here at the law school. I'm really excited to meet some of you, and hopefully you're considering coming to our law school and joining our trial ad program. And I'm just thrilled to hear that we have new students that are interested. Just a little bit about me. I, growing up, knew I wanted to be a lawyer and knew I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I know there are some of you who have some mock trial experience on the call. And so I did that in high school. I did that in college. I was really into trial advocacy. And I probably wouldn't have admitted this to anyone at the time, especially not my parents. But I was making my decision to come to law school largely based on trial advocacy and which program I thought would set me up for success as a trial lawyer long term. And I can still remember being a senior in college and visiting different law schools and coming actually to this office that I'm sitting in right now on one of the floors above me and meeting Tom Kline, who's a trial lawyer in Philadelphia, and talking to him about our law school and talking to him about Professor Stern and some of the other faculty that we have. And he sold me on the school, and I remember walking out of this office and thinking, you know what, I think I'm going to do it. It feels right. And it ended up being the best thing that I ever did for a couple of reasons. I'll highlight a few. You saw on our PowerPoint a few minutes ago that jobs is one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, obviously. I mean, that's obviously why you're in law school. You want to get a job when you come out, and a good job. And Kline Inspector is a great plaintiff's trial firm in Philadelphia. I'll give you a sense of what I mean by that. I've been here for only a couple of years, and I've already gotten to participate as trial counsel in 5 trials. And it's been very stressful, but it's been really fun. I really don't think if I were at any law firm anywhere else, I'd have that opportunity. And I have that opportunity largely thanks to Professor Stern, who introduced me to the people at this law firm. And it ended up being the place that I'm working at now and will hopefully be working at for a really, really long time. Some things about our program. Obviously, we've got a great faculty. We have a really great coaching staff. a really good coaching staff of trial lawyers who try cases in Philadelphia and elsewhere, and really spend a lot of time with the students, helping you focus and get better at the skills you need to be a successful trial lawyer. We go to lots of competitions across the country. Obviously, we do really well, as you kind of saw in our slideshow there, but one of the other things that we get to do that some other law schools don't get to do is travel. Obviously, we're not doing that so much now given the state of our country, but when things get back to normal, hopefully, by the time you all are here, you're going to get to travel when you join the team. Just as a student and coach, I've gotten to go to multiple cities in California, multiple cities in Texas. I've been to different other states across the country as a competitor and coach. So you get to do a lot of that, which is a lot of fun. And I'd say one of the other main reasons that we have such a great program here and such a successful program is because people really want Kline Law students when they graduate. People are really looking to hire Kline Law students, and more importantly, Kline Law students from our Trial Ad program. Professor Stern talked about the Top Gun competition a few minutes ago, and I can still remember being on the plane from Waco, Texas, really tired, on my way home, and I looked down at my cell phone and I had an email from Mr. Kline and Mr. Spector at this law firm, and they said, "Can you come in tomorrow?" I'd worked here as an intern. That's what I was talking about when I said Professor Stern kind of introduced me. He said, "Can you come into the office tomorrow?" And I did, and they offered me a job. And so, with no exaggeration, I can say sitting here that I have my job that I love and I'm so happy with. One, thanks to Professor Stern, and second, thanks to the mock trial team, literally. And so it really is just an awesome program that's going to be really fun when you're here. You're going to be really successful if you come to this school and join our program. And not only are you going to have fun when you're here, but it's going to be great for your future as a trial lawyer. And so it really is awesome. I can't say enough how great it is. So why don't we go around to our panelists one at a time and have you guys introduce yourselves. Let's start with Dee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dejanae Davis, but everyone calls me Dee for short. I'm a 3L here at Drexel. Right now, I'm super busy my first semester of my 3L year. I'm interning with Third Circuit Court Judge McKee, Theodore A. McKee, and I'm also interning at the Philadelphia Law Department in their litigation unit as well. So as you know, Phil and Professor Stern has stated, if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm a law school ambassador here at Drexel. I'm also part of the Black Law Student Association. I'm also part of the Public Interest Experience organization, where we raise money every year to provide grants for students who are interested in public interest. I'm also a part of the Criminal Law Society as well.
Great. Nicole, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're involved in. I know you're involved in lots of stuff here.
So hi, everyone. My name is Nicole. So I'm doing the criminal law concentration here at Drexel. Aside from trial team, right now I'm doing a clinic. So I'm working with the public defender's office here in Philly, representing real clients at real court proceedings, doing real cross examinations instead of just mock ones. And then aside from that, I also do the Immigration Law Society here, which does a border rights project every year. So that takes up a bunch of my time outside of mock trial. And those are the main things.
Last but not least, go ahead, Joe.
Thanks, Phil. So I'm Joe. I am also a 3L here. School-wise, I'm like Dee, I'm also a law school ambassador. And similar to Nicole, I'm involved in a clinic right now. It's a little different, though. It's a family law clinic, but it's very similar in the sense that I'm in hearings. I'm doing like real things, not just the mock things.
Thanks, Joe. So our next question is about the experience that you had as a mock trial competitor as an undergrad, and before that, I'll start. I think I said a second ago that I was kind of a mock trial nerd growing up. I did it in high school, I did it in college, and it's always been my thing. I think everyone in my family probably thought I was going to grow out of this by now, but I don't think I have, and it doesn't feel like it's going to go away. And so one of the things that we really pride ourselves at this law school in is recruiting people like me and like Nicole, who's going to tell you about her mock trial experience in a second, who love this stuff. We've got college mock alums on our coaching staff. I expect that number to grow as we continue to recruit students and they graduate from our school. We partner with AMTA, the American Mock Trial Association, for the Trial by Combat tournament, which is in June, which I'm sure some of you on the call know about with UCLA Law. But the other thing that's so important about this is we have lots of students. I'd say the overwhelming majority of our students have no mock trial background, and they're very successful. I'll give you an example. The team that Professor Stern just told you about, that was the finalist at the Summit Cup at Denver Law just a couple weeks ago, was entirely new. And not only did they have no mock trial experience before coming to law school, this was their first mock trial tournament ever. And they did really well because they're super talented and they had great coaching. And so the short answer is, we love having college competitors, but we also love teaching new people that are doing this for the first time. And why don't we go in the same order as before? Do you start?
Yeah, so I had absolutely no experience whatsoever with mock trial. I didn't even know it existed until I began my application for law school, talking with a fellow student who talked about her experience with mock trial in high school, actually. So that was something I was really interested in, that I decided to do some more research regarding Drexel and their trial team, and was really interested in being a part of the team. So I made sure I spent that my entire first year just trying to develop certain skills that will allow me to be comfortable enough to try out for the team come my second year.
As Phil mentioned a second ago, I'm also a mock trial nerd. I've been doing it since high school too. I did it for 2 years in high school and then all 4 years in undergrad. So Phil and I are from the same cloth. We're both huge nerds, which makes him a great coach. Yeah. And when I came to law school, it was like a no-brainer. I had to do trial team again.
Mine was very similar to D. I didn't really know this existed. And then one of the first things, though, when I was applying to schools was, I think it was probably a very similar presentation of this one, just in person. But Professor Stern was explaining everything, and that kind of drew me to it. So I made sure throughout my first year, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Great. Our next question is, what kind of commitment is it to be on our trial teams here? And I think the short answer is, like anything else at the law school or in life, you kind of get out of it what you put into it. And so we have students who are super intense, who take on a really big time commitment, who sometimes even do multiple competitions, depending on the semester, and take on some additional work at more intense competitions. We have some students, and there's nothing wrong with this, this is kind of the core of our program, who want to do this solely for educational purposes, and they want to learn how to try a case. And maybe they don't necessarily want to be a trial lawyer. And there's opportunities for that as well. And so I think there are certain teams where it's a larger time commitment. There are certain teams where it's not as large of a time commitment, and you can kind of find your place either way. What I say is, we have people on this call, as you heard, who are very, very, very involved in other things outside of the team. And I think they're going to tell you in a second that they have very stressful lives, but they're able to manage it. Not only manage it, but do really, really well, even with the big time commitment on the program.
So I guess I'll start again. I'm just going to, echo some of the things that Phil said. You do get out whatever you put in, just like any other thing. When you want to succeed in something, you have to put in the work to receive the product that you're looking for. So I know for me, I'm very busy with 2 internships and a full course load, but I do make designated time for certain things that I know is required of me as a participant, and also I don't want to let my team down. So if there's any time where I may feel as though it could be burdensome, I do lean on my team and my coaches who are there to help me to make sure that I'm producing good product at a reasonable amount of time, so that way we can succeed in these competitions.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and add, from my personal experience, I actually found it a little bit easier to handle all of the stuff that I had to do once I had mock trial. I think part of that was I was always so used to having this kind of trial team thing accompanying my schoolwork, that balancing that kind of came, I don't want to say naturally, but I was kind of used to it at that point. I also don't know if this had really been mentioned yet, but as a 1L, you don't compete with the trial team. There's opportunities to help, but you're not going to competitions. So you have a lot of time to kind of get your footing in law school before you make the commitment to trial team. It's definitely a lot of time. It's definitely manageable though. And people do all sorts of stuff in law school and are still able to make that commitment to trial team.
Definitely what you put in is what you get out. I felt too, especially, I'm sure maybe Dee can relate to this, like not ever doing it before. I had so many questions my first semester, like what does an open look like? I don't know any of this. But yeah, you can juggle it. It's not hard to balance it at all. Like I work part-time, I have my clinic, I'll do classes, but the trial team is like the fun thing I do. So that's like at the end of the day, I get to sit down and like, that's my de-stress thing. I get to sit down with like the course packet and go through that. So it don't really feel like it's that much of a work because I'm genuinely enjoying it.
Just something that Nicole had mentioned, I will say my first time doing this, it was a struggle in trying to balance it, but given the amount of training that you receive through ITA and practice, I will say, like, it is, I kind of had that feeling that Nicole was just mentioning about, like, I'm not as nervous to do a closing, an opening, you know, to draft questions. It starts to become easier as you do it more and more over the course of your time here.
So we've got 2 more questions for our panel, but I think we're doing all right on time. So why don't we just take a quick second to pause, and if you've got a question, turn on your video and ask us, or put it in the chat. But if we don't hear anything, we'll just keep moving.
Hi. Sorry. So just kind of had a question. Obviously, and I don't know if this is for Professor Stern or just all of you guys generally. Drexel School is obviously very young, as you had said, and has had a pretty meteoric rise in rankings, particularly in trial advocacy. And for the mock trial team specifically, has there been anything as of late in the last 5 years or so when you guys have had a lot of success from a coaching staff or a team mentality that has kind of helped push that gain or that growth? Or what would you kind of attribute that to?
Yeah, that's as long as I've been here. I think that's a great question. I started in 2015, so that 5-year period, I was intimately involved with all that. I think it's kind of a combination of all the things we already talked about, and I'll kind of highlight a few things. I think Professor Stern has done an excellent job over the past 5 years, and before that, obviously, of continuing to bring in a constant kind of pipeline of energetic, great trial lawyers who want to educate and teach people how to do this. So I think that's probably been the backbone of our success. The thing that we've done really over the last couple of years, I'd say a little bit better than some other schools, is recruiting and doing things like we're doing right now to bring in students to couple with our great coaches who not only are super experienced, but maybe don't have the experience and are really talented, really intelligent, really dynamic. And so those kinds of things kind of have combined to create a really successful program. The last thing I'd say is the school has made a really big commitment to trial advocacy. And I'll give you a couple of examples of what I mean by that. There are some programs, and I might go as far to say most programs in the country that have trial teams are limited in some ways by where they can go. Competitions that they can get into based on how successful their program has been. The competitions that they can get into based on the money that the school is devoting to their programs. I can't remember a time since I've been a student and since I've been a coach over the last couple of years, now as the trial competition director, where I've ever heard someone from the school tell me, no, you can't go here. You can't do this. You can't have that. We have a beautiful building. If some of you are from the area, and when things open back up, go look at that building on 12th and Chestnut in Philadelphia. I mean, there is no better answer to your question as to this school's commitment and why the school has done so well, particularly over the last 5 years, than that building on 12th and Chestnut. I mean, it is literally a cathedral dedicated to mock trial. And I don't think there's any school in the country that has anything even close to resembling that. And so I'd say it's those kind of things that have kind of come together over the last couple of years to create kind of a perfect storm of success. And we're going to just continue to get better and continue to expand and continue to do what we've been doing for reasons like this by talking to people like you guys.
And Clark, that's a great question, and I thank you for that. The other thing to add to what Phil said is, besides the great coaches that we have, our trial ad faculty is completely committed to really teaching students to be top-notch trial lawyers, and the faculty are top-notch trial lawyers. So it's, as Phil said, it's like the perfect storm. It's the coaches, it's the classes, it's the boot camp beforehand. It just kind of all meshes together.
Joe, Nicole, D, anything to add? Okay.
I'd say another thing that goes with that is like seeing other people bring home cups. You're like, well, I got to do something like that next competition. Now let's go.
Yeah, I think that. I think just the legacy too. We have such a good record, and when you're a student on the trial team, I think a large majority of people feel like they should do a lot to live up to that record, because it's a big name to live up to. Big shoes to fill. Or big shoes to fill, thanks to Phil.
What legal careers require trial advocacy experience? And the obvious answer is that if you want to be a trial lawyer, it's great to have trial ad experience. You all know that, so I'll expand on that just a little bit. I think trial advocacy helps you in any kind of situation in life, but in the legal sphere, kind of any job that you want to pursue as a lawyer. I mean, I'll give you a good example. I had lots of interviews when I was a 1L for internships, and because I had a background in this as a college competitor, I didn't feel nervous. Public speaking has never been something that's really made me nervous, only because I had this trial ad experience. And for you guys, and I'm sure that the people on the panel are going to say something similar to this, when I was going on job interviews as a second-year student, as a third-year student, first off, I didn't feel nervous talking publicly, but I always had something to talk about. And for whatever reason, and Professor Stern can probably speak to this because she knows what these employers are looking for maybe a little bit better than I do, but employers always want to talk about trial ad. They see it on the resume and they want to talk, what is this championship that you won? What's this tournament that you were at in this state? They always want to talk about it, and it always seems to come up. And so it's really a weapon for our students in interviews. And I think that's part of the reason our trial ad students in particular have been so successful in the job sphere. And so I'd say it's helpful no matter what you want to do, but obviously if you want to be a trial lawyer, it's really, really helpful.
I will say that I think it's also helpful if you want to go into some form of education. Like a lot of my professors are trial attorneys, were trial attorneys, such as Professor Gwen, and I've learned a lot from my trial professors. So that is another profession. I mean, it's not, I mean, if you're teaching, you know, legal courses, but it doesn't have to be completely legal based, but.
I'll add that for me, I want to be a public defender. That's my main career goal. As I mentioned a second ago, I'm currently working for the public defender's office through my clinic program. I just recently had my first real court appearance where I had to like cross-examine witnesses and make arguments to judges. I was definitely nervous, but I think that I had so much more of an advantage than some other people in my clinic because of my mock trial experience. Cross-examining witnesses is something that I've done probably like hundreds of times at this point. So crossing a real one, yes, it was nerve-wracking, but I felt very prepared for it. And I think that's one of the greatest things about this program is that it does prepare you for those careers that involve some level of either public speaking or actual court functions with like cross-examination and argument.
And kind of go off of that too is even if you're not entirely sure, like Nicole knows she wants to be, like she knows exactly what she wants to do. She's always known what she wants to do, which is great. Myself, I still try to figure that out sometimes. I have a lot of different interests, but I think the nice part of a trial advocacy education is that's a skill set that you can take into any different avenue in the legal field or really, like Phil said, anywhere in life. So that's a nice thing that it's not going to go to waste. It's going to be useful.
Yeah, I was just going to add, you know, having been a trial lawyer for a really long time, I like right now I'm doing some internet, for lack of a better word, legal commentary. Dan Abrams has a show called Law and Crime, and like on Wednesday, I'm going to be a legal commentator, and I'm really excited because I'm so used to like live stuff, and they just throw me live trials that are happening and have me comment on what's going on as far as trial strategy and all of that. And because I was a trial lawyer, it's like, bring it on, bring on the live stuff. And it's really fun.
Great. We have one more question for our panel. So the question is, what has been your best experience so far on trial team? And I'll start. Professor Stern mentioned the Top Gun tournament, which was, I mean, so awesome. Mentioned the tournament that Cole and I won last fall at Fordham Law. But I'll say one that's different than that. My first semester coaching after I graduated, I took a team of brand new second-year students who had never done this before to a tournament at St. Mary's Law in San Antonio, Texas. So we had 8 weeks to prep. They'd never done, Nicole said she'd done hundreds. They had done 0 when they came to me. And so we had to really start from scratch. And after 8 weeks, we went to the competition. They competed, and they were the top team out of 24 after the preliminary rounds. And it's really cool to get to work with experienced people. But it's also really cool as a coach, and I think Professor Stern would agree with this, that to see brand new people do really well at these tournaments. And I think it's a testament to the program that Professor Stern has built, and that the quality of coaches that we have, that even our brand new students can do really well at these things quickly, immediately. And that was a really cool moment for me to see those brand new students that I had coached doing really well.
So for me, I've only gotten a chance to participate in only one competition due to the circumstances, the pandemic. But that first competition, doing the closing for that competition was probably the highlight of my entire mock trial experience, mainly because I got a chance to because I was plaintiff, I got a chance to do a rebuttal, and my rebuttal was not scripted or anything like that. It was off the cuffs. I had to take what the opposite team theme was and flip it and use it against them. And I was nervous about it, my first round doing it, but my second round, I was so ready for it. And I felt really, really comfortable, especially after all the practice that we had with ITA and things like that. So for me, just the overall experience of just being comfortable with thinking on my feet and being assertive, you know, and what I'm conveying to the mock juror or whatnot. So the comfortability aspect of being able to articulate my thoughts is something that I really enjoyed.
For me, it's kind of tough to narrow it down to just one experience. I think probably just going to practice, honestly, like I said, I'm a mock trial nerd, so I always love practice. But I've thankfully had Phil as a coach the entire time, and our second coach, Jess, has also been my coach the whole time. And my trial team partner, Ryan, has also been my trial team partner this whole time. So the three of us are extremely close, I would say. We're really good friends at this point. We have so many little jokes and like side conversations and all of this kind of, like, we're more than just a trial team. We're actual friends at this point, and it makes going to practice so much more fulfilling. And then last year, all of that ending in a big competition win was just like the cherry on top. So like Gwen said earlier, mock trial is fun, fun, fun. It really is. If you stay with the same people the whole time, you will get close to them. They will become friends. Even people who aren't on my teams, people like Joe and Dee, I would consider myself friends with, and hopefully they do too. But you really get close to your entire cohort and to the people who come in after you too.
So again, I'd never done a competition at all. In that first competition, because of COVID, that's the only competition. Like going and doing it live was just this adrenaline rush, this like high that just felt amazing. And I was on clouds for a couple of days after that. So I was like, wow, when's the next one? Like, I'm ready to go. Like, that was awesome. Yeah, everyone's smiling. It's the same thing. So that was that's just a great experience that way. And also that competition, my coach for that competition ended up giving me a job where I still work now. So that was also a good benefit from that.
And so you can email us any questions you have about the program, about law school, about Kline Law, about Philadelphia, whatever questions you might have. Gwen and I are happy to answer them. If you have any questions for our panelists, I will make sure that I get those questions to them and answers back to you. Well, thanks everyone for coming out.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you on campus next fall.